In this video, I'll be sharing with you a requested tutorial on how to cut this stylish Victorian corset dress with gathers. So if this is something you like, kindly hit on the subscribe button. This dress is from Leah's Couture on Instagram. Now to start, here is my pattern paper and I've gone ahead to mark out my basic measurement, which includes my shoulder to bust, under bust, waist, and then I added 5 inches for my inbuilt corset length. So we are cutting this as an inbuilt Victorian corset, and then the gathers will be added on it later. So now you are going to mark your shoulder divided by 2 and come down by 1 inch. Now from this point, you're going to go ahead to mark your basic neckline of 3 inches. Go ahead to place your ruler and you're going to connect. Now after doing that, you're going to go ahead to find your chest line, which is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. Place your ruler there and draw out a straight line. After that, place back what you have on the shoulder, which is your shoulder divided by 2 on the chest line. Place your ruler and connect, drawing out a straight line. So I'm going to place my tape here and I'll divide what I have here into 2 and come in by ½ inch. Now I'll go ahead to mark my bust circumference divided by 4 here. Now after marking that, I'm going to go ahead to connect from this point all the way to that ½ inch and to the shoulder part of my pattern. After I'm done marking that, the next step I'll take is to go ahead to mark my nipple to nipple divided by 2. My nipple to nipple is 7 inches divided by 2. I have 3.5, which I marked starting from the bust to the under bust and waist. Now I'm going to place my ruler and I'm going to draw a straight line and I'll connect this. After I'm done connecting, I'll divide what I have from my neckline to the shoulder towards the armhole and I'll go ahead to connect this all the way up. After I'm done connecting, the next step I'll take is to mark my dart intake. I'll be marking 1 inch on both sides of my dart, right? So after marking this, I'll extend it all the way down. If you're a plus size, you can use 1.5 inches on both sides, or if you're a bit busty, use 1.5 inches, and I'll go ahead to connect this. Now I'll also connect this on the other side of my pattern. Now after I'm done marking this, I'm going to go ahead to draw a straight line connecting this all the way down and on the other side of my pattern. So after I'm done, I'm going to go ahead to place my curve drill, go down a bit, connect from the bust down to the under bust, and also repeat this at the other side of my pattern. I'll go up by 2 inches because that is where I want my pattern to start, from the chest line. You can also measure from your shoulder where you want it to start. For my dart, I'm using 0.75 on both sides because I don't want to have much gaping at the upper part. Now if you're plus size, you can consider using 1.5 inches on both sides, or if you don't want it to gape much, you can go ahead to use 1.25. Now I'll go ahead to place my ruler and I'm going to connect. Now after I'm done connecting, I'll go in with my marker to outline my pattern. So after I'm done outlining, the next step I'll take is to go ahead to insert my measurements. I'll mark my bust circumference divided by 4. Pick this dart here, this one at the chest line, and mark. I'm not marking the one on top because I don't want to have any excess by the sewing allowance of my dress. I'll mark my under bust circumference divided by 4. Then measure this dart intake I have here, replace and add ½ inch to it. You don't need much sewing allowance for here. I'll mark my waist circumference divided by 4, measure the dart intake, replace and add ½ inch. I'll be snatching my waist later. So here I'll mark my hip circumference divided by 4, measure the dart intake, replace and add my sewing allowance. Now after that, I'll just go ahead to connect my pattern starting from the bust to the under bust to the waist, and from the waistline to the hip point, and I will go ahead to connect. Now I'll just go ahead to outline my pattern. So after I'm done connecting, I'll come up by 2 inches. You can use 1.5, 2 inches or 2.5. I'll start connecting this to the lower part of my pattern. Now after connecting to this point, I'll blend out my dart this way so that it will be meeting each other, then I'll blend it off. Now I'll go ahead to use my marker to outline to make it more visible for you to see. Now after I'm done working on that part, I'll mark my bust dart. To get your bust dart is the difference between your shoulder to waist in front and your shoulder to waist at the back. My shoulder to waist in front is 17, while my shoulder to waist at the back is 15.5. So if you minus 15.5 from 17, you have 1.5. That is how I got my bust dart and I connected it. Now I'm going to come in by 1/2 inch at the center of this pattern. We are trying to create the space at the center. You notice that there is a lacing at the center of this corset, right? Now I'm using 1/2 inch for mine, and I'm going to go ahead to draw a straight line there. Now after marking this, I'll come up by 1/2 inch from my chest line, blending my darts, and I'll start connecting it this way. Now after I'm done connecting, I'll start connecting to my armhole. Now this is what I have, and I'll go ahead to use my marker and I'll go ahead to connect this all the way to the other side of my pattern. Now this is what I have. Now on this pattern, you want to snatch your waistline. I will introduce a style line. Now blend in this part, make sure that the style line matches here. Now I want to snatch out 2 inches from my waistline. So for the 2 inches, I'll be taking 1/2 inch on each side of my pattern. That is, I'll share 0.5 inches into 2, meaning I'll mark 0.25 on each side of this line. So by the time I take out 0.5 from the front right side of my pattern, 0.5 inches from the front left side of my pattern, that is, I will take out 1 inch from the front. Now if I repeat this at the back, I've taken out 1 inch. So that 1 inch plus 1 inch will give me 2 inches. That means I've snatched out 2 inches from my pattern. Now I'll connect this all the way down and add an additional style line at the front pattern of my dress. So I'm going to be cutting that out, and I'll go ahead to label my pattern as center front 1, center front 2, middle front 1, and side front 1. Now after this, I'll just go ahead to cut this pattern, and I'll be indicating that I have a lacing at the front part of this pattern. So after this, I'll just go ahead to cut out my pattern and also blend out the dart when I'm cutting it. So at this point, if you have any question, please kindly leave it at the comment section. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please kindly hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and also leave your comment at the comment section. Moving over to the back pattern, we are going to be drafting this as a very simple pattern because we have a lot of drama going on the front pattern. So I marked my shoulder to bust waistline, then added 5 inches to my blouse length. My shoulder to waist at the back is 15.5. Now I marked my chest line and all the other part of my pattern. For this pattern, I'll be leaving it as a dartless pattern. Then I will now introduce a style line to snatch my waist. So I'll mark my bust circumference divided by 4 and add 1/2 inch. Mark my waist circumference divided by 4 and add 1/2 inch. Then go ahead to mark my hip circumference divided by 4 and add 1/2 inch. So after this, I'll just go ahead to connect this and connect it all the way to the lower part of my pattern, right? Now I'll go in with my marker and outline. Then after that, I'll be coming up by 2 inches from this side, and I'll place my ruler to connect. Now after I'm done connecting, I'm going to go ahead to use my marker to outline this pattern. So I'll go ahead to outline the chest line of my pattern. So after I'm done outlining that, the next step I'm going to take is to go ahead to mark my nipple to nipple divided by 2. Now we'll introduce a style line, and remember we snatched our waist at the front pattern. So I'll introduce that 0.5 inches that I shared on both sides, giving me 0.2, and I'll just go ahead to connect this all the way up. Remember, just like I said, I'm drafting this as a dartless pattern for the back, and I'll indicate a style line to snatch my waist. So we had a lot of cutting at the front, so I want the back pattern to be easier and simple. So let's go over to the lacing. You can decide to use that lacing at the front and cut this as closed, right? Or you can go ahead to add a lacing at the back. So for the lacing, I'm using 1.5 inches. You can use 2 inches. It totally depends on what you want. Now after marking that, I'll place my ruler and draw out a straight line. I'll just make these dots to indicate that I have a lacing. Come down by ½ inch from the chest line to avoid the lacing from popping up and connect. Now I'll just go ahead and cut this out. Now after cutting this out, we are now going to move over to that of the lower part of this dress. Now for the lower part of this dress, you notice that we have like a gathers. Now what you need to do is to find the full length of your dress. Let's say the full length of this dress is 37 inches. Now we have cut out the upper part, and when you're cutting out the upper part, you're going to cut this in form of an inbuilt Victorian corset, right? But when you're attaching the gathers, you're going to attach it on the waistline, the actual waistline of this dress. So since your full length of your dress is 37, now minus your half length from that 37. So my half length is 17 inches. If I minus it from it, I'll have 20 inches. So for the gathers area, you need about 20 inches by 3 yards. So if you're slightly big or someone on the plus size, you need like 4 yards. So you'll be needing about 20 inches by 3 yards or 20 inches by 4 yards, which you're going to go ahead to gather it all the way round. So after gathering this, you're now going to place it on the waistline of your dress, and you're now going to join it to the inbuilt corset on the waistline, and then give at least 1 inch for the zipper allowance at the back, which you'll be using to add a zipper to the back of this dress after you're done sewing the gathers on the waistline of the Victorian corset.